All right, meanwhile, back home, whether that increase in crude is passed on or not sooner than later, there is already concern which is taking place, and in the parliament session, it got represented when opposition leaders created ruckus and demanded that there be a discussion on the floor of the House about fuel taxes. That hasn't happened yet, but the Rajya Sabha had to be adjourned due to this. After this, Leader of Opposition Mallikarjun Kharge said that this is an issue that needs to be addressed. Listen in.
पेट्रोल, डीजल, गैस की महंगाई के वजह से हर चीज महंगी हो रही है। खाने पीने की चीज भी लो, चाहे जितने भी आवश्यक वस्तुएं हैं उनके भी प्राइसेस आज दिन ब दिन बढ़ रहे हैं। तो ये जो जनता में आज आक्रोश है उसको सदन में हम उठाकर चर्चा करना चाहते थे, लेकिन उसको मना किया गया। सरकार तैयार नहीं थी।
So can the central government hold out on pushing back on excise duties for much longer? Will states actually come forward? Now, a lot of formula is doing the round. The finance minister has said it has to be a calibrated approach. Centre and state have to work together and push back. State governments don't seem keen to let go of the revenues they have. They're saying they're still reeling from the COVID-19 impact. A suggestion has now come up that let's bring it all under GST. It will help everyone, but clearly there's no political will to do that. Unlikely it will happen anytime soon. Meanwhile, remember that there are state elections around the corner. Is this the time to strike when the iron is hot, so to speak? Will this push the centre to roll back excise duty? To speak on all of these issues, I am joined today by Siddharth Sanyal, Chief Economist of Bandhan Bank. Subhash Chandra Garg, former Finance Secretary, joins us on the show, as does Gopal Krishna Agarwal, National Spokesperson of the BJP. Welcome to all of you and thank you for speaking with us. Mr. Sanyal, let me get your take first on what does it mean if crude hits $70 a barrel, stays high. We already know from the OPEC and OPEC Plus meet that took place last week that they are in no mood to cut, to restore production cuts anytime soon. So are we in for a rocky patch both at the petrol pump in terms of retail prices and inflation overall?
Yes, uptick in global crude prices definitely is throwing a new set of challenges to the recovery process that India possibly has started. Very clearly, the first set of threat is more to the external balance. A back of the envelope calculation would suggest you for every $10 kind of a rise in crude oil prices, typically India sees about 0.5% of GDP kind of an impact on its current account balance. Having said that, I would say that at this moment, given that the current account balance is at a much more comfortable state than we usually have seen in many years in the past, that is less of a concern. But still, 2 to 3 things still remain very, very bothersome at this juncture. One, if the taxes are not adjusted, and if because of it being market driven at this moment, international prices get passed on to the domestic prices, there is definitely a pressure on inflation levels. But more importantly, what I would tend to harp on that at this juncture, when India is trying to find out its course of recovery, the big component of recovery in the Indian context is private consumption. Private consumption is about 2/3 of the overall size of the economy or of GDP. And at this juncture, what we get to see, consumer confidence is very, very low in case of India at this moment. During the time of COVID, it was actually coming down even before the COVID broke out. And during the time of COVID, it actually crashed dramatically. And even though India is going through the process of unlocking the economy, the uptick had been very slow or very gradual over the last 6 months. So at this juncture, if domestic pump prices remain unabated, then it really throws one new challenge to the overall consumer confidence and thus to the recovery process. That remains a very bothersome situation, and we need to figure out what exactly play out going ahead over the next few days. What makes it complicated that at this juncture, the big upsurge all of a sudden has come from a geopolitical risk about which you can do very little. So we really need to figure out how exactly the pump prices behave and what kind of challenge it throws. I am particularly worried about, to some extent, inflation, but particularly worried about whether it causes a fresh dent or jeopardizes the recovery process of consumer confidence, urban consumer confidence in particular, which is already at a very, very low level.
Mr. Sanyal, it's interesting you talk about urban consumer confidence on a day when there is a fairly insightful report from Nielsen, which has come out today, and I want to tell our viewers about this. And this Nielsen report finds that 63% of urban Indians that they have surveyed are now under the newly constrained category. So they have a new category of people whose financial situation has worsened in the last few months, leading them to consciously watch what they spend. Now, this is a firm that tracks consumer spending patterns, and they have coined this newly constrained categories. They're saying 63% of urban Indians they surveyed are under this category. So that's a real concern. You want people to continue spending more. Now, all of this is the economics of it. But let's admit it, when it comes to retail fuel prices in this country, a lot of it is realpolitik as well. Technically, as soon as crude goes up, with a bit of lag of a couple of weeks, of course, your pump prices should reflect as well. They have to go up and down in tandem with international prices. That doesn't necessarily always happen. The last 9 odd days, we've had a break from daily price increase. I'm not sure if it has or has not to do with the fact that campaign has started in 5 states, but it's an important observation. Mr. S.C. Garg, you're someone who understands the way these things work. Can we expect an excise duty cut anytime soon, or will the central government want to set a precedent by getting a formula where center and state both come down with their tax, with the taxes that they enjoy right now?
See, the logic of the thing suggests that the cut should be coming anytime. The main element of the price hike in petrol and diesel, of course, of late is also because of the international price of crude going up. But principally, this was the excise duties enhanced on 10th of May, if I remember correctly, by a whopping 10 rupees and 13 rupees. That was the principal element which had added to the price structure at that time. This made sense at that time because the crude prices had fallen to very low level, and it did not make sense for adjusting such a normal reduction in international prices to consumers. But the understanding was, and it should have been, that as soon as the prices of crude in the international market goes up, there would be a rollback. Why this has got delayed so much is a bit of a mystery. So I think the most logical thing to do is to bring down the central excise duties in the form of this road and infrastructure tax by 5 rupees or 7 rupees. The argument or the suggestion that the state should join is not very good in my judgment. The state's VAT taxes are related to a great extent by the prices which goes up. If the excises are brought down, the cesses are brought down by the center, the state VATs would in any case come down itself. So I don't think the center should wait for the state governments to agree to any formula. There is a formula already. The state VAT rates are not changed in last 9-10 months. Hardly anybody has done it. In fact, some have already brought it down by that. So I don't think there is anything required to readjust the formula. The most logical course, in my judgment, is to reduce the central excise duties.
Okay. In fact, it's interesting to look at the states which have decided to give some relief in VAT on fuel. West Bengal and Assam are among them. Both are going to the polls. They did it before the Model Code of Conduct came into place. Meghalaya is one of the states, as is Rajasthan, where the taxes were fairly high, and that's why touching close to 100 rupees a litre. Gopal Krishna Agarwal, what is the reason that, politically speaking, the government feels it's okay to not roll back those excise duties soon enough? Is there a sense that this is not an issue that resonates politically or has any kind of electoral impact? It's okay. People are absorbing it because the biggest quote-unquote complainers are the middle class, who perhaps you feel are in your corner.
One important thing is that the whole idea about Modi ji's economic policy is very much focused now on good economics is good politics. And you see the direct and indirect tax have fallen so much for the center, and still the government has increased the expenditure by more than 34.5%. Direct, indirect taxes, collection, etc. have fallen down by 25% due to COVID. So if we want economy to recover, the government has chosen a path of going on for a large-scale expenditure investment into real estate, infrastructure. Even the social welfare schemes have been completely leveraged further. And farm sector, all are getting a lot of money from the central government. Ultimately, how budget or how the government will function, it has to match its resources and tax revenues and expenditure. If it doesn't take revenue resources from this petrol, diesel price, etc., it will have to increase taxes. We have reduced taxes, indirect taxes under GST over the year. We have reduced corporate taxes, income taxes, etc. And we have not reduced any fund transfer to the state. What the finance minister has also said, that under the GST, the thing was that the revenue collection at the center has fallen tremendously, but the states are getting 14% increment every year from the base price of their collection. That also the center is already committing itself and going to finance that. So indirect tax, states are not losing, center is losing heavily. And ultimately our fiscal deficit currently is 9.5% of GDP. Even we have a highly debt, almost 87% of our debt to GDP ratio is there.
But,
so there is no scope.
Ultimately, that's true, Mr. Agarwal, but if I may come in, on the question of whether there is no scope. So you started by saying good economics is good politics under this government, and I want to come to you on the economic question. You're saying there's no scope. There's a report recently by ICICI Securities that says there's a fiscal room for a 8.5 rupee per litre cut in excise duties without missing fiscal targets. Why can't that happen? Is the first question. Second question is it still good economics if crude prices keep moving northwards? Remember when these excise duties were bumped up, it was in the middle of the COVID pandemic, crude prices had gone down, and the government, instead of passing on that cushion of lower crude prices, decided to keep it to themselves to fund what was coming next. It could have been plausible at that point, but hasn't the situation changed now? You're saying there's a V-shaped recovery. You're saying that, consumer confidence has to come back. Is it still good economics to keep excise taxes that high, Mr. Agarwal?
That is the issue that I wanted to tell you, is that it is said that petroleum prices have an inflationary pressure. So, but inflation is under control, around 4%. So that is one issue. Second thing is, if we do not propel or catalyze and support the economic recovery at this present time by increasing government expenditure, private capital formation will not come. So it is important that ease of doing business, ease of living, and support to the weaker sections of the society. Government spends a lot, and government has chosen to spend a lot through infrastructure development, infrastructure spending. And important thing is also that the whole federal structure is, the states are also getting funds from the center under the 15th Finance Commission. So the states should be in the federal structure. All the scheme, direct centrally sponsored schemes are there. Then central owned schemes are there. So this is the choice at present that we have seen. And one figure I just would like to quote is 1 rupee reduction in excise in petroleum prices cost around $13,000. Therefore, the government is working on a long-term strategy, because we have so much of funds requirement with the DISCOM reforms, power sector distribution,
yeah, you said that, sir, and that's understood. Of course, funds.
So ultimately,
of course, the central government has to spend. Funds are required. That is.
So it is a choice from where the government collects.
Yeah, that is well known. Yeah, the question is about the inflationary impact that high fuel prices have, and I want to come to Mr. Sanyal on this. Mr. Gopal Agarwal made the argument that everyone says they're worried about inflation. Inflation numbers are under control in his view. Your CPI has come back down again. So what is the big problem then?
Well, yes, he is right that at this moment the inflation prints are well under control. But I'll not push my luck too much on that particular factor because if you see the broader trends and be a little more futuristic in your approach, you'd get to see that globally at this moment the forecasts are that the food prices might actually keep inching upwards. Globally, the metal prices are moving on northwards, and at this moment you are seeing a situation from where the dollar index might actually weaken, which might actually support the global commodity prices a bit more. So in that kind of a situation, if you see the composition of our CPI basket, food is a very high, close to 50% kind of weightage is with the food prices. So in that kind of a situation, when global food prices start moving higher, there is always a bit of uncertainty or a bit of pressure on potentially on the inflation trajectory going ahead. There are some of the other factors in play, like the base effects and all, and given that they will be enjoying a bit of favorable base effect for a while, that might lead to a somewhat well-managed inflation prints. I'm harping on the point prints, but at the same time, you should not take it lightly. And as I mentioned, at the cost of repetition, I would highlight at this moment, I would be more worried about reviving consumer confidence and try to pull back the consumption, consumerism and the instinct of spending a little more, rather than bothering only or be satisfied only with an inflation number. The point here is that in case of India, the large part of the economy is driven by private consumption, and some of the other drivers like capex and exports, you are not very sure at what pace they will be coming back. So at this juncture, you cannot take risk too much with private consumption recovery. So my sense is that the government will be striking a balance at some point of time. And while it was easier for them to keep a very high excise duty for a while, at some point of time, I would expect the excise duties might actually come down a little more to provide some relief to the common people and thereby support.
No, they'll have to let go. They'll have to let go eventually. And any regular viewer of this. Yes, any regular viewer of this program, and Mr. Agarwal, I urge you to watch this program as well, will hear that we've been speaking to corporate leaders, we've been speaking to companies across the board, and all of them are feeling the pressure of these high input costs. They've not all passed it on yet, but they will sooner or later. I just want to get a quick word in from SC Garg. And, Mr. Garg, I want to get a kind of futuristic view. Including fuel under GST is touted as the solution to all of this. Bring fuel under GST. In fact, there's a formula that SBI put out recently. I had Soumyakanti Ghosh on the show to talk about it. And split whatever the taxes are between center and state. The GST between center and state is the formula which has been given. Is that realistic at all? Because they said, the report said there's no political will. Is it in the realm of possibility in your view that fuel comes under GST and then a whole other formula comes into play?
See, most of these calculations which are put out by the analyst, including Mr. Soumya Kanti Ghosh, assumes that if the petrol and diesel moves to the GST, they would be charged the maximum rate of 28%. And that is what would lead to a lot of reduction in the effective fuel prices, ranging between 10 to 17 rupees per liter, depending upon what kind of calculations you put in. But this is a very dicey assumption. I don't think central government will let go this much, or the state governments would let go. This was the main problem why the fuels were not brought under the GST. The right formula, in my judgment, to do is to shift it to GST, keep the rate, maximum rate at 28%, but whatever is excess revenue over 28%, capped at some level, let us say $60 international crude prices, which India has always argued that that's a fair price, long-term price for the crude to remain. And at that level, whatever is the collection of the central government and the state governments, the difference between that collection minus 28% is recovered as an extra excise duty, and also a split in the formula of the Finance Commission. If you do that kind of move, then this will not only save both the central and the state governments of what their fair share of revenue is, and it will link to a reasonable benchmark of $60 of international price. But if you do anything else, that keep it at only 28%, and expect the governments to leave out, I don't think that's going to work. Let me say one more thing before I leave this. The effect of the central government's decision to put more and more of the excise duty on the cess side, and this has continued even in the recent budget, has effectively reduced the central government's transfer to the states. In 3 years, between 2018-19 and 2021, the share of states in central taxes has come down from 36%. And mind you, what the Finance Commission recommends is 41%. It was 36% in 18-19. It has come down to less than 29.5% currently. It's 29.2%, a 7% reduction. And on the excise side, practically less than 5% of the total excise duties collected goes to the states. So it's very unfair way of sort of treating the states by sort of putting all kinds of excise duties in a non-shareable pool. So move over to GST, which the states would also find fair. And that would be good for the industry as well.
Maybe the time is ripe. Maybe the time is ripe. Yeah, maybe the time is ripe. We've been looking at COVID-19 and the pandemic shaking up so many formulas. Maybe the time is right. Maybe the political will can be mustered up to make a change which is more lasting and impactful, because these crude cycles will keep going up and down. We have to have a steady formula right here on how taxes can be imposed but not pinch the pocket beyond a point. I want to thank all of you for joining us on the discussion this evening. That's all the time we have for that lead story, which we looked at in great detail.